What's up, YouTube? Just wanted to make a video about a little project I've been working on lately. These speakers, well, the speaker that I'm showing now is a realistic Nova 5 from 1982. And as you can see, the foam surround on the woofer completely done. The tweeter's still in good shape. I've already taken all the screws, so I can pop this thing out and show you all the tweeter. So I was looking on Parts Express for some replacement drivers, and here's what I came up with. These are 8-inch, 40-ounce, 8-ohm, 2-inch voice coil polypropylene woofers. And what actually caught my eye, these were on buyout at Parts Express, but what caught my eye in one of the pictures was this: Made in USA. And you don't see that too often anymore, especially not on a driver. I think I paid $15 a piece for these 8-inch drivers plus shipping, so not bad. As you can see, there's a huge difference in size on the magnets, and I've got all the specs printed out here to show you. You can just pause that on video if you want to see. And the specs for the enclosures that are recommended, and these actually have a very low QTS factor of 0.18, so they're definitely suited for a vented enclosure. And the Nova 5 enclosure, I think, is 0.55 cubic feet before driver displacements, so not too far off from the recommended volume. And even though it says 4 pounds in this listing, they feel a lot heavier than 4 pounds, these woofers do. The shipping weight was 15 pounds. There's only about a pound of packing material in box, I would say. And because nothing ever goes easy, I had to modify or find a way to mount these woofers in these boxes, because the cutout for these, there's a little flush mount, and this basket is actually, I think, almost 8.5 inches on the outside, and on these replacement woofers it's about just over 8 inches from either side of the basket. So what I came up with was, I took a scrap sheet of wood, and yes, this is a bit of a hack, but I used my plunge router on this 3/4 inch thick sheet of MDF and made some little rings to mount the drivers in. And they fit. It's kind of hard to do it one-handed because these drivers are heavy, but they fit nice and snug in there. And it also gives me some meat to bite into, because these woofers are heavy, and this box, the particle board it's built out of, is not the best, so this will give me something a little beefier for these heavier duty woofers to bite into. Lift it off. Show the construction of it a little bit. They're built pretty nice. Nice thick tensile leads, and the basket is a stamped basket, but it's made of pretty thick material, and the spiders look nice. The cone and surround looks nice. And actually, here's the finished product right here of how it looks in the box with the ring. It's definitely a hack, but hey, this is Alabama, so anything goes, right? And I was a little bit worried because the port on these enclosures is pretty small, but there's actually no wind noise from the port, which is surprising because these little Sonys up here have quite a bit more port noise with a smaller woofer and a bigger round port. But it may be because this box is tuned lower, not really sure. And as far as the crossovers in these boxes go, there isn't really one. All it is a 4 ohm resistor and a cap for the tweeter, and the woofer runs wide open. But as you can see, at least on paper, this driver is fairly well suited for something like that with a high frequency response. And these woofers have pretty impressive specs: 140 watts RMS power handling, 2-inch voice coils, 40-ounce magnet, which is much beefier than anything you would normally get in the price range of a $15 woofer. So wasn't able to find much about the company Orevox, and I think I got the last of these drivers because the next morning when I checked the listing, it said that they were all sold out and no longer available. So enough talk. I'm going to go ahead and finish this other enclosure and give you all a listening test of the finished product. Here's the box with the woofer removed. It's got some acoustic stuffing inside the enclosures. And here's the simple, if you even call it a crossover, just a cap and a resistor for the tweeters. And the connection in the center is for an RCA speaker jack connection on the back of the box. And here's another reason I think that even though the rings might look a little goofy, it's not a bad idea because there's really not a whole lot to bite into, especially for these heavy replacement woofers I'm using. That particle board's pretty thin there. Here's the box with just the ring installed but not the speaker yet. And here's the finished product. They sound pretty good for what they are. I gotta say, I'm reasonably happy. I made some little terminals, used my little Harbor Freight ratcheting crimper. I'll show you the backs of the boxes real quick since I didn't show you before. It has little screw terminals, and this right here, I don't know if I can get it off one-handed or not. There we go. That's a little RCA connector if you were going to use that for the speaker connection. And have a little listening test. Unfortunately, it's the middle of the night, so I can't crank it up all the way, but I'm sure there'll be more videos about these speakers. And that's about all there is to it, the revamp of these Radio Shack realistic speakers from 1982.